Going for boost. Well, I think going for boost, if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello, and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle K Cube, and I'm joined by AJ Binky. What's happening?
Hey.
Today, we will be recapping EU Regional 3, recapping the teams headed to Copenhagen, giving you guys an update on the flight boot camping situation that Torsas tweeted about, that we talked about on our last show. And we got a little bit of some upcoming events to talk about. So let's jump right in with the EU Regional number 3. We'll start out with the Swiss stage. AJ, you want to run us down our results?
Yeah, let's do it. So we got the 3-0s. We got Team Vitality and Carmine Corp. 3-1, Gentlemates, Redemption, and Moist. 3-2, BDS, Magnifico, Oxygen. And then going into the not top 8, what would it be, 9 through 16? We got Wild, Team 3, and Top Cougars going 2 and 3. Endpoint, Belligol, and Fast Forward 4-wheel drive going 1 and 3. Solary and Novo Esports going 0 and 3.
Okay. So, the first thing I feel like we have to mention is, is Vitality back?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because they lost a game. Pathetic. No, I'm just kidding. The way I see it, they have to do better than that to be back to where they were.
Okay.
Yeah, they got the 3-0 in Swiss, and we'll talk about it later, but they did good in playoffs. But they, peak Vitality is gonna be hard to compete with.
Yes, they will. I also would like to point out that the 3 teams that Vitality beat are Endpoint, Team 3, and Top Cougars. All 3 of which, granted, you can only play the matches that you're drawn up against, but all 3 of those teams did not make the top 8. They did not play a single top 8 team until the playoffs. Whereas if
is this a format issue?
No, it's just a performance issue, right? Like you play Gentlemates, but Gentlemates gets swept by Moist.
Right. Just
based on the way that all the results went, like you have Magnifico losing to Top Cougars, Oxygen dropping a game to Solary kind of kept them away from Vitality and sent them into Carmine Corp, but that's really not, I would say, less of a format issue, more of a just things fell really, really well for Vitality.
Yeah.
But the next thing that we have to talk about, we mentioned them a couple times, there's Top Cougars. Almost a tremendous result for them. They take down Magnifico in 5. They take down BDS in 5. They get swept by Vitality. They get swept by Gentlemates. And they fall to Oxygen in 5.
Yeah, keyword there's almost.
Well, hey, I mean they have not made a top 8 yet. That's Gregan, that the team that Gregan coaches. of Acro, Toxic, and Relating Wave. It's an all-English team. And it took until Game 5 for Oxygen to take them out. But, they played 5 of the top 6 teams in EU. The only one that they missed out on was Karmine Corp. Talk about a gauntlet of a run.
Yeah, that's rough.
But, I mean, they
did fantastic.
They did. And it's a great jumping off point for next split if this team chooses to stay together, which I hope they do because they played fantastically. But, this is one of the weirder Swisses we've seen in a while. Your number 2 with a bullet, BDS, going to round 5. You have Magnifico going to round 5. You have Oxygen, barely squeaking in through to number 8. So, I mean, it's different than what we've seen before, as we've normally kind of seen this, this top 4 that's been pretty solidified of Karmine Corp, BDS, Gentlemates, and Vitality. But that was mixed up in a big way in this event. They all still made it, just not exactly in the order that everyone anticipated that they would.
Yeah.
But with that, I think we can jump into our biggest winners and losers from the Swiss stage. So starting out with winners, first and foremost, I have Top Cougars. What a tremendous run. Like I said earlier, even though they didn't make top 8, they beat 2 of the top 5 teams before taking Oxygen to Game 5 in the last round. That's a lot of progress, something to build off of. If they choose to stick together, the second split is worth more points towards Worlds than the first split. So they'll keep their points, and they'll have a good spot to start from moving into the second split. Secondly, I have Redemption taking that 4th seed. It's a good showing for them to make top 8. The only series that they lost was in Game 5 to Moist, and Moist had themselves a really good run as well. But some big wins for Redemption over BDS until they ran into Moist again in the playoffs. But again, another similar story, right? A good ending to the split where they kind of ramped up as it went along. So if they choose to stick together, I think that they could do some damage next season. Or not next season, next split. Sorry about that. But again, this is a big if they choose to stick together. And then last but not least for winners here is Gentlemates. After getting swept by Moist, they're able to right the ship and then win their next 3 games and sweep through Swiss, only dropping 1 game in the process to Oxygen in round 3. They needed that to solidify their major spot, and they're able to do just that. So, what do you think about my winners here? And, did I miss anybody?
Yeah, I think you're missing one, but I see it further down in the dock, so I'll hold off.
Yeah, so I like to try to split it up a little bit, right? And if there's, because there's a clear and obvious one in my opinion in this one, but I have them as a biggest winner in playoffs, so I didn't want to double dip on that one.
Yep.
And then for biggest losers, I have Solary. Another disappointing result, only taking 2 matches total and dropping out in 15th place. After split 1, they sit in 20th place in EU. They have some of the biggest names in EU Rocket League history with Chaussette and KDOP. They added, young up-and-comer Rise Fox, but it's not been enough to have them make any impact whatsoever. So for that reason, I have them in the loser spot. Secondly, I have Endpoint. I would have expected a little bit better than them. They failed to make an impression with their only series win coming over Novo, who finished in 16th and did not take a single match off of anybody. So, not necessarily a great result for them either. But and then last but not least is any team not in the top 8 in EU. It's looking more and more like EU has a solidified top 8. So if you're on the outside looking in, then you're going to have a huge mountain to climb for the next split, even though it is worth more. Like, it seems like, in my personal opinion, Oxygen, Magnifico, BDS, Moist, Redemption, Gentlemates, Karmine Corp, and Vitality seem to be in this top 8 as Williams Resolve was in there in the first regional, but then they haven't made top 16 in either of the next 2. So they've kind of fallen off, in my personal opinion. So, teams like, especially teams with organizational support like Solary, Endpoint, are going to be looking to try to regain and, climb into that top 8, but I think it's going to be increasingly hard to do so. What I miss?
Nothing.
Fair.
I like the last loser there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, people keep talking about the EU depth, and, I don't really see it outside the top 8, right? Maybe top Cougars, maybe Team 3. We've seen them do some things in Regional 1, but, not really any teams that are, in my opinion, going to make a deep run into playoffs at any given event. So it kind of just seems like it's really these top 8 and then, a cliff and then everybody else.
Yeah, I agree.
But you want to take us through our predictions and how we fared for our top 8 predictions?
Predictions. We killed it this weekend for our predictions.
Heck yeah.
Top 8, you got all of them right. And I missed Solary. And I did not pick Redemption. And we both predicted the winner, Carmine. So, the only one we got wrong between the two of us is me picking Solary over Redemption.
I mean, 15 out of, well, it was 16 for 16 and then 15 for 16, and then we both got the winner. So, 33 of 34 ain't bad at all.
Yeah.
I'd take that grade in school any day.
I most definitely would.
But, I think it might be fair to say that we're just getting good at this. Or maybe
I know.
Or maybe EU's just easy.
It can only be a fluke so many times, right?
I mean, that's what I've been telling myself.
I mean, we'll have to see how it goes at the major. I was gonna say Worlds, but
yeah,
Major 1. Let's focus on Major 1 first.
I mean, insert whatever analogy you want. A broken clock's right twice a day. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Something like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, this is going to be interesting. Our predictions for the major are going to be. I think I need to do some more research into that. Try and figure out where all these different teams stand.
Yeah.
But with that, we can jump into playoffs here. Running down our quarterfinal matches, we have Team Vitality sweeping Oxygen. We have Moist sweeping Redemption. We have Carmine Corps winning 4-1 against Magnifico, and we have BDS sweeping Gentlemates. Almost the perfect sweep day. Magnifico had to go and ruin it, but they really speed ran day 2. I think everything kind of ended exactly how I expected it to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry. All the teams that I expected to win won. However, the series scores were not exactly what I, thought. I thought maybe Gentlemates would be able to take 1 or 2.
If anybody predicted the number of games from each match, I mean, they're just a prophet.
Yeah. Yeah. But you want to take us through our semifinal and our final match?
Let's do it. We got Team Vitality taking down Moist 4-1 and Carmine sweeping BDS. And then for the grand final, we got Carmine winning 4-2 over Vitality.
Any surprises from this one?
I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say Carmine sweeping BDS. Vitality getting second, maybe. Like, as much as I hate to say it, I don't expect them to do this well anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little bit fortunate for Vitality. I mean, Vitality did everything they could, right? They avoided Carmine Corps or BDS until the end, which is what you have to do to get, a good result in this region. So I think, fortunately for Vitality, they come up against Moist instead of a Gentlemates or a BDS. So I think that, had they played one of those, I think they lose in the semifinals. Personally, I don't think that they've shown enough to be able to, take a series off of one of them at this point, right? They took 2 games off of Carmine Corps, but, then Carmine Corps kind of flipped the switch and even broke through the timeout buff.
Yeah.
But, I think you're right. I think the biggest surprise of the day or of the playoffs has to be the Carmine sweep of BDS. I mean, I guess we've technically seen them sweep BDS before, but coming after they lost the first 3 games of the series.
Yeah.
And, every single time we've seen these two play thus far, it's been, an absolute bloodbath. It's been a back and forth series. All of the games against BDS are 1-goal games, including 2 overtime games, which could have gone either way, obviously. But, I just, Carmine Corps look incredible.
Yep. They got that 3-peat.
They did. Another thing that I kind of, the perfect split. Like, what more can you say, really?
Do they take the major or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just it's until like we keep saying it, like until somebody proves us otherwise, like it's got to be Carmine Corps.
Yep.
I mean, you look at, and then also in my opinion, you look at Moist and the Moist Vitality series, right? And Moist scored more than 3-3, 4-1-2. Right, they got blown out in the game where they only scored 1 goal, but Vitality's defense looks vulnerable. Moist was able to score more goals than most people against Vitality, and I don't know that necessarily Moist is they're not a top 4 team. I don't know that they're a top 6 team right now in EU. I think they can certainly get there, but if Vitality wants to be the best, they have to beat the best. And while they did beat Moist, they did enough to win. I don't know that they and they definitely didn't do enough to beat Carmine Corps.
I'd argue they're top 6.
Really?
On a good day. On a good day. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's like Redemption, Moist, Oxygen are right there, and then you got maybe it's Vitality in 5th, or maybe it's Moist or Redemption. It depends on the day, but
Yeah.
That's
fair.
But we can move on to our biggest winners and losers from the playoffs. Starting out with the easiest one, it's got to be Carmine Corps. The perfect split, 3-peat regional champions. KC should be your major favorites. If they're not, you're a little bit biased or just not right.
I don't know. Some of the minor regions are looking a little scary. The top teams, at least.
I mean, in my opinion, you just look at the way that everything's going, and my top 4 is Carmine Corps, BDS, Falcons, and then you there's kind of a jumble for me between Complexity, Furia, G2, and Gen G. I think it's those 4 fighting for the last top 4 spot.
I would agree.
But
all it takes is one series and KC's out.
You are correct. But in this second winner spot, I have Vitality. After some poor showings, they're able to, or poor for their standards, right after winning everything end of last year. They're able to show everyone why they're reigning world champions. They sweep through Swiss. They were able to get a good result, making top 2, even if they were only able to do so because they avoided Carmine Corps and BDS. When they needed a result to make the major, they showed up in a big way. A win over Oxygen secured them a major spot, and they were able to do so in a sweep. And Moist was looking for, trying to get as many points as they could, heading into next split, and Vitality beat them as well. So, they did enough to secure their spot for the major, and, you just gotta show up to the dance to have a chance. So I think that's what they're hoping for here.
Yeah.
And then last, but certainly not least, and the one that I didn't talk about in Swiss is got to be Moist. A lot of people counted them out after, but after a great showing, it kind of, in my opinion, it put them back into the conversation for the second split. They're able to make it their first top 4 of the season. After missing out on a regional and not making top 8 in the first one, this is definitely like they've ramped into this. They've really kind of started to gel as a team. I thought they looked really good against Redemption, and unfortunately they just run into Vitality. So a great showing from Moist, and that's why I have them in this winner spot.
Yep.
Did I miss anybody else? What do you think?
I don't think so. Do you think Moist makes a change after this major?
I'm not sure. I feel like they shouldn't, They should at least, but maybe they do, right? Like the only thing that I could see them doing is potentially switching Resi. I think Oli has done enough to give himself a spot. He had a good tournament. I think, Joyo is moist, so you can't switch that. So like realistically, the only thing I'm thinking is, maybe you get like maybe you try and pull somebody from a lower team, like maybe Smokes from Endpoint, or maybe one of like people from Top Cougars becomes available for Moist and you can pull them up, something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say they don't make a change. Just ride it out.
I mean,
See how it goes next qualifier.
It wouldn't surprise me personally, but
Yeah.
with the way that this new RLCS season works, like you have a roster move window of being able to pick people up and change your team, and that starts on April Fool's Day. So I can already see all the
It's
memes and all of
ridiculous.
the jokes that are going to happen with that. Like like JNAPS is coming back to G2, Rizzo's returning, all that kind of crazy.
Version 1's getting a new roster.
Yeah, version 1 to buy Falcons or some shit like that.
That'd be so funny.
That like everyone's just gonna get debated. Like that's just gonna happen.
Oh yeah, totally.
I just have no. I can see it happening.
And being a pro on that day, that'd be so stressful.
or fun. The impression farm will be real.
Yeah. If that's what you're thinking about, I guess. I'd be thinking about, oh God, am I gonna have a job?
Some might be, especially if you're not allowed to play in RLCS for the next year. If you know, you know.
Oh, everybody knows.
But now our three biggest losers from playoffs. First, I got Magnifico. They're unable to do enough to qualify for the major, missing out by 7 points to Gentlemates, and a win over Carmine Corps, albeit very difficult to do, and no one was able to do it. Once you get into playoffs, would have helped dramatically in their push towards a major, but they're unable to do so. Secondly, I got BDS. This just wasn't their weekend. They did not look as dominant as we've come to expect from them, but they're able to make a top 4 and are swept by KC. This is the first, in my opinion, this is the first tournament that, Drolly really looked human. I don't know how else to put it. Right, in their loss to Top Cougars, they only scored 1 goal in the last 3 games of the series, and Top Cougars are able to reverse sweep them. So something kind of went wrong there, and again it's the when their offense doesn't show up, they lose, and I think that they've come to rely on Drolly and Monkey Moon a lot for their offense, and they were not able to perform as much as they have in the past, and I think that's what helped contribute to their I guess lesser result. But then also you have to think about it, and their lesser result is just facing like the grand finals match was just in the semifinals this time.
Yeah.
Even though it was a sweep, they were all close games. And then last but certainly not least in this one, I have Oxygen. They needed a result and some help. They needed to beat Vitality to have a shot at making the major, same as Moist. But to be able to play against the best at Worlds, you have to beat the best, including the reigning world champion. And they did not do that, so they don't deserve to go to Worlds, and to the major. And that's what happened. They're swept by Vitality in pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah.
They scored 4 goals the entire series against Vitality in the quarterfinals, and Vitality scored 4 goals in game 1. So, yeah, so 9 goals,
rough.
9 goals to 4.
Dang.
So they don't deserve to make the major, but they've positioned themselves nicely heading into the second split with the result that they had, and Oski was looking really good. So you hope that him and Archie can continue to build that chemistry, and Ixo can continue to come into his own, and they could be a dangerous team moving forward.
I'd argue they will be.
Don't have to argue with me. I think you're right.
I know, but I like to argue.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. We agree on a lot of stuff.
I know. We need Ace back.
We need somebody back. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
somebody's just gonna fight us on everything just for funsies.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Let me just get T-Bates in here.
Okay. Last, we're gonna disagree on this one. I'm pretty confident.
Perfect.
Will Limitless take a series at the major?
You think you're gonna have a different answer than me?
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes. They take a series.
Damn it. I thought you were gonna say no.
I mean, sure. I mean,
Okay, let's switch it up then. Who Elevate, yes or no? Or let's put it this way then. Which two teams do you think are going 0-3 in the major?
oh no. Okay. This is rough.
The two that I'm thinking are right next to each other on this list that we have.
Okay. I have one that I don't want to pick at all, but I'm going to. And I don't know about the other one. Oh, wait. I think I know who you're picking.
Pioneers and Elevate.
That's not who I'm picking. That's not even one of the. That's not even the first one I was thinking. But
Oh.
it's kind of between. It's kind of between those two for the other one for me.
Okay, then who's your other one?
So I'm thinking it's gonna be OG
Whoa.
and Pioneers.
Okay. See,
And I don't wanna see it. I like me some OG.
we disagree, and we're not going to steal content because we're going to talk about the major and our thoughts and predictions and kind of do a preview on some of the teams heading into the event at a later date. Right? We have like 3 weeks until this major kicks off. Well, 3 weeks and a day from when this episode goes live. So we'll talk about that more in a little bit, but we do now have the list of teams making the major in like seeded order, right, for Swiss purposes. So for that, we have Carmine Corps from EU, BDS from EU, G2 from NA, Vitality from EU, Gen G from NA, Gentlemates from EU, Falcons from MENA, Luminosity from NA, Furia from SAM, OG from NA, Rule 1 from MENA, Power from OCE, Complexity from South America, Pioneers from OCE, Elevate from APAC, and Limitless from SSA. So, best of luck to those 16 teams. And as I said earlier, we will be talking about them more in the next couple of weeks leading up to the major. Anything you want to add on that before we jump into the boot camp update?
There's a couple things I want to say, but one, I can't. Two, I might. Falcons and OG. That should be a good one.
I think it will too. I think that's going to be one of the better games.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued. Like, we can talk a little bit about it because we'll go into way more depth on it before, but or later. But how do Falcons respond to the super hyper aggressive play style from Com, and same with Luminosity Furia. Like, how does G2 stack up against, G2 and Gen G both play OCE teams? Like, how does Rule 1 fare against M80? I think there's going to be some really good round 1 matches. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
So certainly a lot to look forward to from the major, and some more exciting news potentially for that. But now we talked about it before in one of our previous episodes about the boot camp. Torsas had tweeted out basically that like they were only going to pay for flights during the travel window, which potentially could give them like less time to adjust, like one day before media day, and so on and so forth. And it was just going to be unfortunate. but Torsas did tweet, we are happy to announce that earlier flights are again being covered for teams wanting to boot camp, thanks to Blast Esports and RL Esports for being open and responsive to the situation, and everyone in the Rocket League community for showing such strong support. So, like we said, it's possible that they are just like trying to figure out logistics and details and stuff, and that this isn't going to be an issue, and it's not going to be an issue. So, W from Epic and Blast, and for W to Power and to Torsas for making this public so that that they could get this righted so quickly. So, good for all those teams, especially from the quote unquote minor regions, that they're going to get to boot camp in EU for a little bit prior to the event. So, good to see that things are happening in a positive aspect. What do you think?
I agree. Lots of good things have happened this split. Like, coming from Blast, Epic, Psyonix, the people in charge. Like, yes, a lot of things have gone wrong. A lot of things people don't agree with. But, like, they've done some good.
Yeah, I
feel like we got to acknowledge that.
I agree. I think they've done a good job. I think that some of the issues that people have been having, like the visa stuff, which more people have not been tweeting about, so it seems to have resolved itself. Torsas talking about boot camping, things like that. It seems to be just potentially growing pains of somebody managing something that they've never managed before. So I'm hoping that that's the case and that this is kind of the last snag that we had. So I'm hoping that they're able to run an event. All of the things that we've talked about Blast Esports is that their in-person events leave nothing to be desired, that they're stupendous. And so I'm hopeful for the people that are able to go to Denmark to see it, have a fantastic time. And I'm very interested to see the production quality, to see the stream quality, all of that stuff moving forward. So like you said, I think that they've done a lot of good recently, including, some additional transparency that we haven't seen before. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully more positive interactions with Blast, with Rocket League, with Epic, and, especially now that Disney's come into the scene, we might get to see some bigger and better things moving forward. So it's an exciting time to be a Rocket League fan, in my opinion.
Forgot about that.
I also potentially, I wouldn't rule it out that next season, right? So after Split 2, next RLCS 2025, that we see a major with more teams than what they currently have. But logistically, it was just hard to do in such a short turnaround time after the deal was completed. So I'm hopeful for that. That could be the hopium, but we'll have to wait and see.
I feel like I need to make a wish list of Disney stuff I want to see in game.
I want the remote control RC car from Toy Story.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
Or just an Octane decal of it.
Yeah. I want a under the sea themed arena. I think that'd be awesome. Like Ariel's Grotto.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or Cinderella's castle, but the map is inside the castle.
Oh yes, that'd be so cool.
These are free ideas. You guys people need to be writing this down. Somebody needs to be writing this down.
So many things that could happen.
Indeed. But also I tweeted about it on Sunday that there would be no episode, as we're there's something in the works relating to the major. But basically, our big announcement is that it is our absolute pleasure to announce that we will be hosting the Boost Over Ball Luminosity Watch Party on March 30th at Selena's Bar and Grill in Madison Heights, Michigan. The event will start at 11 a.m. and go until the games end on that Saturday. It's just the one day on Saturday. And, kind of the things that we've been working on. We've been working with someone. But basically, our big announcement is that it is our absolute pleasure to announce that we will be hosting the Boost Over Ball Luminosity Watch Party on March 30th at Selena's Bar and Grill in Madison Heights, Michigan. The event will start at 11 a.m. and go until the games end on that Saturday. It's just the one day on Saturday. And, kind of the things that we've been working on. We've been working with someone at Luminosity to secure some merch to be able to give away to you guys. So we can announce that we will be hosting giveaways for Luminosity swag or merch, as well as some Boost Over Ball merch. The last thing that I would like to add is that food and drinks will be available for purchase from Selena's Bar and Grill themselves. Everyone will be like on separate checks, but we will be posting on social media a flyer with all of the information pertinent to this event. There will be a tab on our website that will also have and house all of the information until the event happens. So if you're in the Detroit metropolitan area or in Michigan at all and would like to come and hang out with some people and watch some RLCS, we really encourage you guys to come. We'd love to meet everybody. One of the greatest parts about getting to go to these RLCS events is just hanging out with people who enjoy Rocket League and getting to see everybody. And so we will be doing that. A lot of people from the Boost Over Ball crew will be there. AJ will be here. Red Gaming, who you guys have heard on the podcast before, will be there. And a couple other people, as we're, trying to get a big group of people to go to this event and to enjoy our time watching Rocket League together. So we're so excited to be able to bring you this news, and I'm sorry that it couldn't have come sooner, but we were working on some stuff on the back end. AJ, what do you think?
It's gonna be incredible.
So maybe now I'm at like more of
it.
I'm at like more of a 14 now instead of a.
Yeah. I'll round up to an even 13.5
out of 10. That's anything else you want to add before we wrap up for today?
I want to add that I've been on the Beat Saber grind again, and my arms are sore.
It's a good game.
It's a great game, but that's it.
Fair. But with that, we'd like to thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, as it really helps us out. Also, make sure you check out our Twitch, our TikTok, and our merch store. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.